Détente is the magic word. In the 1970s, there's a series of important international agreements.
All's well that ends well.
At last, the regime has won full recognition throughout the world, in exchange for signing away a little more freedom to its citizens.
Technically, they were now allowed freedom of movement, freedom to choose where they worked, freedom of expression. The communist governments would frequently sign these manifestos and international agreements and simply not allow them to be carried out on their own soil.
Instead, they build the wall even higher. The Wall. For a few artists, this is the biggest canvas on Earth, the East Side Gallery. Seen from the west, it's as loud as West Berlin. A tourist attraction separating two worlds. West and East. Erich Honecker still makes great claims for his republic.
Everyone has his place in the German Democratic Republic, regardless of his political views and his religion.
The prisons are full of critics who think differently from the regime. What's a state to do when it has too many dissidents and is bankrupt?
You work out a deal with the West Germans whereby you sell them dissidents. In other words, you stick these people in jail and then you do a deal and say, we'll let you have these people in exchange for Westmarks, the precious Westmark.
West Germany buys people's freedom for up to $50,000 each. Selling 35,000 dissidents actually helps East Germany avert bankruptcy. And there are huge loans from the West. But with one condition: the booby-trapped guns on the border have to go. It's not a problem for Honecker. He's not thinking of the past, he's thinking of the future.
And in fact, by the 1980s, they were planning a high-tech war, which in essence would be the computer technology by this point, and was such that they could envisage making a high-tech war where relatively little human intervention would be involved, and people wouldn't even be able to get near it without being picked up by the various sensors and cameras.
This was Erich Honecker's Wall 2000. Infrared, laser, and vibration detectors would trigger alarms when they sense an escaper. Automatic cameras and searchlights home in, and chemical sprays disable them. Flanked by green bushes, the dangerous reality would be camouflaged to look benign and bucolic. 1985. In the Kremlin, a new communist dictator, Mikhail Gorbachev, begins talking peace. American President Ronald Reagan is determined to regain the initiative. He comes to Berlin in July 1987.
Just this picture, which has been reproduced millions of times of him standing there in front of the Brandenburg Gate, was as dramatic an effect as you could have. And so we more than achieved our goals with the speech.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Reagan was the first president in a long time who didn't see the Cold War continuing forever. He had at least a hope that it would be temporary, that the Cold War would end, the Soviet Union would end, and the Cold War would be over and the US would win it.
In this thaw between East and West, Honecker visits his counterpart in West Germany, Helmut Kohl, the ultimate recognition for the little brother.
We respect the existing frontiers, but we want to overcome this division on our path of peaceful understanding and freedom.
Perhaps just words?
Erich Honecker tried so long to keep a tight hand on things, because he knew that he couldn't afford to just relax slightly, because as soon as he relaxed, East Germany would go. It would just melt away.
October 7th, East Germany's 40th birthday. As far as Communist General Secretary Erich Honecker is concerned, the country will go on forever. But Soviet Premier Mikhail Gorbachev has different thoughts of reforms.
The marchers were shouting out, "Gorby, save us." And that really was the point at which I think the pressure cooker inside East Germany met the reform movement within the Communist Party, and that decisive point arrived where suddenly it was really clear that the Russian bayonets were not going to save Honecker.
We assure our friends all around the world that socialism on German soil, in the land of Marx and Engels, rests on indestructible foundations.
Honecker was deeply resistant to change, not at all interested in compromising, and he felt that the regime was solid. He lived increasingly in a world of fantasy.
Because elsewhere in Eastern Europe, in Poland, Czechoslovakia, and Hungary, borders are opening. The electrified fence between Hungary and Austria is dismantled. Suddenly, East German vacationers have a safe way out.
All on the trees were nails, and they'd hung their keys on them, car keys, house keys. So they'd left behind. I mean, I live in a house with all kinds of stuff. I can't imagine walking away and leaving it all. That's what they did. That's how badly they wanted to go.
CBS News correspondent Alan Pitsey at the West German Embassy in Prague, where hundreds, then thousands of East Germans have taken refuge. Finally, they're told that West Germany has agreed to take them in.
I've done it. I can only say I'm a free man.
Soviet Premier Mikhail Gorbachev refuses to act to protect East Germany. His advice?
I believe that dangers lie in wait only for those who fail to react to life.
And nothing would ever have happened in East Germany, nothing would have ever happened in most of Eastern Europe if it hadn't been for the arrival of one man, and that was Gorbachev. This was the first man who said, "We are not going to send in the tanks."
But Honecker's regime is not giving in.
We're demonstrating peacefully. We don't want anything bad.
It was the biggest gathering I think they'd ever had. And when you saw that, you realized, wow, if they're out here, they cannot stop this. They can't stop people speaking. They can't stop them gathering. And people are not afraid to gather. It's over. The authorities have lost total control. Genie's out of the bottle. The toothpaste is out of the tube, whatever you want to call it.
East German Politburo spokesman Günter Schabowski announces on November 9th, 1989, that for the first time, East German citizens can travel abroad freely. A journalist asks him when. He answers, at once. It was a mistake. He should have said, tomorrow. The news spreads like wildfire. 3 hours later at the checkpoints, border guards are totally unprepared.
We grabbed all our gear and we raced as fast as we could go to Checkpoint Charlie, and there they were. They were just heaving through. The gates were open, the guards were gone, the people were just pouring through.
But not everyone is happy.
The people over there are talking about reunification. I'm absolutely against that. I'm sure there are lots of good things there, but they have a lot of muck over there too, and I think it should stay there.
East Germany disappeared like a fairy tale, a nasty fairy tale. And I think, to me, that's my chief fascination with the place. It seemed artificial at the time, and now it went like a puff of smoke. Over a period of just a few days and months.
On October 3rd, 1 year after the wall came down, Germany was reunified. It signified the end of communism.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value! Illuminati,